Hello and welcome to this week's pet pairing. I'm feeling fall vibes, as you can also see it very well reflected in the dress that I'm wearing today. I'm taking the 24 extent eye base from MAC and I'm just going to start doing my makeup while we are chatting. I know that it is not fall in the whole world, but like I think for most of you it is going to be fall now. So I figured it is time to bust out Midnight Sun specifically, because to me Midnight Sun is the epitome of fall colors, especially in Pat McGrath's Mothership lineup. Speaking of Pat McGrath Labs, I just wanted to say something real quick. The Celestial Nirvana collection is releasing September 23rd. That is, it's Wednesday today, so on Friday, so 2 days from now. And I just wanted to share like a small annoyance that I have with you, because I think they're being extremely unclear and vague on whether the whole collection is releasing at once or whether only the Celestial Nirvana Mega Mothership palette is releasing. I'm taking my L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper to do my brows, because I suddenly remembered that she put this crap last year as well, where she released the Celestial Odyssey palette in the end of September, and then not even a month later she released the rest of the collection, which included the Lunar Nude Highlighter, the Quads, and maybe some like trios of blushes. I can't really remember. So now I am thinking, is she going to pull the same crap? Do I have to pay for like express shipping twice? Because I really don't want to, and I really want to like get at least a few of the items in a bundle. So I'm really hoping she isn't going to pull that crap. And I posted a question underneath her announcement for the release date yesterday. I haven't heard back because their Instagram is so useless. The only thing that they comment on that Instagram account is major and divine and whatever other like non-informational superlatives you can think of. But actual information is nowhere to be found, or it is extremely vague. So I'm just a little bit annoyed that they're being so vague about it. It seems like the most logical thing, right? Like, they announced the whole collection, so why wouldn't they release it all at the same time? But I'm just really so fed up with that vagueness sometimes that they have surrounding their releases. Anyway, that was my little rant here. I'm going to close off the rant so that we can continue talking about more exciting topic, cats. Let's talk about cats. I haven't really given you an update on the ladies recently, and I have some interesting recent observations that I would like to share, and one that I just made this morning that I find very curious and I have no explanation for. Taking my Bendy Avocado Concealer from First Aid Beauty. So the ladies are doing just dandy. They're so sweet, we are so in love with each other, you know, the whole thing. Mona has a little like bald spot on her like neck right here already for I want to say at least 2 months. Before the holidays she had like a little patch here that was missing. I don't know whether she got it stuck on something or she was in a fight, I don't know, but there was like a little patch that was missing and there was a really huge crust. And then when we were on holiday, my friend let me know that the crust had fallen off, everything looked nice and clean, and I was hoping that, you know, within a few weeks she will grow fur there. When we came back, not only was there no new fur to be seen, but she had scratched it right back open. It was all bloody again and it had gotten a little bit bigger. Oh, there you go, I found Lisa. So we took her to the vet, and the vet basically said, it looks fine, you know, you just have to give it a bit of time, and he gave her a steroid shot so that she doesn't scratch it as much because it's not as, you know, itchy. Great. She's kind of walking around, doesn't know what she wants, so I kind of opened the closet for her, but I think she's going to be out of the room now. Okay, I'm too lazy to close the door of the closet, I'm sorry. So, what's been happening since then, basically, let me just quickly take a break to tell you, I'm taking again the Estee Lauder foundation, because last week when I was editing my video, I noticed that my neck is still way too yellow for the rest of my foundations, so I'm still going to use this one, even though it's maybe like a tiny bit too dark for me at this point. So what's been happening with that bald spot, basically in the past like month or so, since we went to the vet, is we go from cycles of she leaves it alone and it looks really good, it starts to recover, it grows a little crusty again, and then everything looks good, and then we wake up in the morning and there is blood again. And at no point does it really look like very inflamed or anything. If that was the case, I would have immediately rushed her to the vet, but because it never really looks very inflamed, it just kind of goes back to like settling down, but it's just like this bold, sort of like irritated spot on her neck, and I really don't know what to do, because it's not one of those things that you can solve with the color of shame, because I don't think the color of shame is going to do anything. She can still scratch it with her paws, which is I think the biggest problem. She can't, well, she can reach it a little bit to lick it, but I think that's actually beneficial rather than disadvantageous. But the biggest problem is she just scratches it open, and there's really no way to control for that. And I really don't know how long it will take for it to recover. I'm going to set my face here with the Hourglass ambient lighting in dim light. And I just really don't like it, because I keep thinking, well, what if she gets like a super bad infection or something? But you know, I just really don't like that it's taking so long for this to recover, and I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do. I kind of want to call the vet again. My husband is not so quick with calling the vet. I'm very quick with calling the vet. Let's take the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer now. So I'm just really curious whether that has happened to any of you, and what has your experience been, if you've ever experienced this with your cat. Now on to a more fun fact about the two ladies. Apparently they're part dogs, because we discovered relatively recently, like over the summer, that they follow you. Like, we go out and then they follow, and they don't have, like most cats have this like imaginary boundary that they will not cross. So they will walk with you for a little bit, and then there will be, I don't know, the end of the street or the end of your block, and they'll be like, okay, this is my imaginary boundary, and now I'm going to stop following you. My cats don't have that. They'll just follow and follow and follow, no matter where you're going, which is very cute, but it is also very stressful. So now when we take Nicola to daycare, and his daycare is like really close by, no major streets involved. There is only one street we have to cross, and it's not a very busy street, but they follow, both of them, loyally, like little doggies. And when we go to the playground, which is a little bit further away and requires crossing another street, which is again not a very busy street but like slightly busier, they continue to follow you there as well, which I find really concerning, that they don't have this like imaginary boundary that they won't cross. And I've also never heard of cats that will do that. Like, I know that there are cats that will follow you if you go out for like a little bit, but to this extent I have never heard of that before. Now for blush, since we are starting to do the fall type of looks, I'm going to be busting out again my melting powder blush from Uggghhh in the shade 05, which is this extremely interesting and very unique sort of like yellow toned pumpkin-y orange color. I really love it. I had kind of forgotten about it over the summer because it didn't really fit with any of my makeup, but now that we're moving into the fall months and like the more olive green tones and the warmer reddish brownish tones, I feel like this is going to be perfect. So now going to daycare is a whole experience, or like just taking my son out to the playground is a whole experience, because we go with like the whole entourage, and we can't really go far because I really freak out when they follow like this, because cats are very stupid around cars. They're like reflex and responses to seeing something scary are like the stupidest things you've ever seen in nature. They freeze and they run in front of, you know, the cars. Let's highlight with Golden Moonlight from McGrath. And what's even more remarkable is I didn't, like usually when I go to work, I will sit on my bike and then I will just, you know, bike off, so to say. And they don't usually follow. Last week though, Lisa ran after my bike like a little cheetah. Her sister followed suit. So at one point I had almost reached daycare, and I thought, the way these cats are going, they're just going to follow me into like the busier part of the town. And I was not about to risk that, so I had to turn away, go home, distract them with food and milk. So that's what we do now, we have to do. When we want to go somewhere and we don't want them to follow us, we have to like distract them with food and snacks or something like that for them not to follow us. So it's very cute, but it is bringing me a little bit of life stress, I'm gonna be honest with you. Do your cats do that? Do you have experience with cats following like that? I'm kind of hoping that they will grow out of it as they age. I'm going to spritz my sponge with Fix Plus, so I'm kind of hoping that they will eventually grow out of that, especially once he starts going to school, because going to school is going to happen in November. Nikolai is starting school November 1st because he's turning 4 in the end of October, and kids here start school, at the age of 4. Like the first 2 years are sort of like daycare slash school, where they teach them a little bit about how to like do things in a more organized way. They teach them letters a little bit and counting a little bit, so like basic things like this, but without it really being like school. But he starts school, and the school is relatively close by, but it is still quite much further away than what I'm comfortable with in terms of like cat distances walked. And there is definitely a very, well, not a very busy street, but like a big street with like cars, trucks, even like buses that go every now and then on that street. So I absolutely do not want them to follow all the way there. So let's start with the Midnight Sun palette, where I'm going to dip into the camel brown shade as my transition shade, and then in the outer corner we're going to put this beautiful like brown red shade, which yeah, blends out so nicely together with this one, and it sort of like loses, well, doesn't lose, but doesn't have very strong red tones to it. It sort of becomes more of like a chocolatey brown with slightly reddish tones to it, so it's like really a perfect shade for fall without it being too overwhelmingly red. And my last interesting cat fact for you is something that I just noticed this morning. So I brought Nicola to daycare this morning, and of course the whole entourage followed. And what I noticed at one point was Lisa stood in front of like someone's house, like just like the wall of the house, and I saw her tail like flickering, and I was like, oh, what is she doing? And then I noticed her spraying, and I was like, oh, wait. I mean, I know that both male and female cats can spray, although it's a little bit more common for male cats to spray. And then I thought, well, that's curious. But then she did it a couple more times on our way to and back from daycare, and I find that very curious behavior, especially for a female cat. I haven't had the chance yet to ask Google what it means, but if you guys know what it means, I would love to know. I know that male cats, especially like male cats that are not neutered, will spray, but she's female, definitely, and she's been neutered 100%. I'm taking this smaller sort of blending brush to take the browny red shade here into the outer corner of the eye, blending it together with the camel brown that we put through the crease. You can see those like slight red tones, but especially as you blend it out, I feel like this shade becomes more brown the more you blend it, which is not the worst thing in the world, because I actually don't want it to be too red. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my glitter glue out. I'm just going to take the NYX glitter glue. I also wanted to give you a heads up for the Celestial Nirvana palette. It's releasing on Friday. I'll order it with express shipping, and I hope that Pat is going to ship it really fast, because usually once it ships, it's here within like 3 to 4 days. The biggest rate limiting step usually is just her, you know, team shipping things out. Now onto my lids, I actually want to apply this beautiful gold shade here from the Divine Rose 2 palette, considering to maybe put the tiniest bit of this bronzy one here like in the more outer corner, and then the gold in like the inner portion of the lid. And then I am going to probably put this one into my inner corners. So first I'm going to take this like bronzier blitz shade from Divine Rose 2, and I'm going to put it here at the very like outer edge of the eye, and actually over top of those mattes a little bit, because I want the biggest portion of the lid to be reserved for that glorious gold from the Divine Rose 2 palette, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but personally, to me, that's one of those shades that causes drool to form in my mouth. I think it is so delicious. I'm kind of hoping that Pat's team is going to ship the Celestial Nirvana stuff relatively quickly, because what unfortunate timing. Once again, I'm probably not going to be here to receive my package, because the first week of October I'm going to a congress for a few days, and I suspect that that is precisely the time window when the Celestial Nirvana things will come in. Luckily, I'm not away for like 2 weeks as I was with my summer holiday when Moonlit Seduction was released. I will be only away for like a few days, but still a few days that I will be separated from my Celestial Nirvana collection, and a few days that I will be, you know, delayed making the video for you. I'm going to take the little blending brush and I'm actually going to, without applying any color, just give those shades a little bit of a blend here through my crease. Just wanted to give you a heads up that it might be that I'm a little bit delayed with posting the video, even if I've already received the products. Now I am going to first apply my inner corner, I think, before I proceed with the layering part, because for my inner corner I'm dipping into the Astral from the Divine Rose 2 palette. This shade is so pretty. Okay, and now for the fun layering part, I actually want to go back into the Midnight Sun palette and apply a little bit of this shade here, which is called Blood Moon 005. And I'm going to take a little bit of that and I want to apply that. And I actually think I took too much, so I'm going to get rid of a little bit of that on the back of my hand here, because I want to apply some flakes over top of the gold and the orange to add a little bit of, you know, a veil of this shade without really making the whole look about the Blood Moon shade. I just wanted to add a little bit of sparkle and an interesting effect. On my lower lash line I'm basically going to repeat what I did on my outer corner and crease. I'm going to apply the tiniest bit of the red shade here in the outer corners of the eye, and then I'm going to blend that out together with the crease shade that we applied earlier. Okay, we're turning the artificial light on here because I cannot get over you not being able to appreciate how extremely gorgeous this look has turned out. Lisa came back and she's sleeping like an angel. I usually wear a ribbon from Lisa Eldridge when I wear this dress because the shade of ribbon matches like 100% the little red detail in this dress, but for this look I just kind of couldn't imagine anything else but Cinnabar. So today I'm wearing Velvet Cinnabar from Lisa Eldridge, so at least we're sticking with Lisa Eldridge. I really love how this look turned out. Do let me know what you thought about it. Thank you so much for listening. Do share with me all of your ins and outs pertaining to cat psychology, because some of these like cat things really confuse me still, even though I've been a cat mama for many years now. I wanted to say something real quick in the end of the video because it's the easiest way to like get through with it. For those of you who have been around my channel for a relatively long time, you are probably wondering why I never have at all talked about Bruce. I never talked about what happened to him last year, and I never really mentioned him in my videos. It's not that I haven't wanted to talk about him, it's just that I kept waiting for it to get easier, but we are in 2 weeks sitting at a year later and it is not easier. If I start talking about him, I burst into uncontrollable tears, so unfortunately emotionally for me it still feels like it happened yesterday. So I just wanted to mention that in case you've been wondering. Someday when it gets easier I would really like to talk about him and the grieving process and all the weird thoughts that went through my brain in the last year, but unfortunately that moment still hasn't come, and I think the next weeks are going to be really difficult. I'm going to end this video on a positive note by, you know, telling you how excited I am about the Celestial Nirvana collection. I can't wait to get a bunch of that, and I'm just really excited about it because I think it's such an epic collection. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this look as usual. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!